Okay. Good morning. It's a little bit sad weather here in the Netherlands with a little bit of drizzle and 2 degrees above zero. But right behind me is the Collse Watermolen, first documented in 1337, but pottery shards have been found here dating back to the 11th century even. Let's explore. Located in the Urkhovense Zeggen nature reserve along the Kleine Dommel, Little Dommel, a tributary to the Dommel River, famous Dutch painter Vincent van Gogh painted this watermill in 1884. The year 1337, when this watermill was first documented as far as we know now, was in a time when the two mills, there are two buildings with two separate water wheels, each used to process different materials, were owned by the Duke of Brabant, who sold it to the Lord of Kuik and Mierlo that very year. Farmers in the area were forced to bring their products here to have them processed. This lasted until the French period between 1794 and 1814. The watermill processed grain into flour and rapeseed into rapeseed oil back in those days. Yes, rapeseed oil isn't something woke, green or new. It has been used for centuries to light oil lamps, for example. Canola oil is an edible derivative of specially cultivated rapeseed. While we watched Miller Daniel clean out the freshly milled flax, today we're producing linseed oil instead of traditional rapeseed oil, let's run through a bit more history of this watermill first. The mill burned down completely in 1860, but was rebuilt and operated again 1 year later. With the arrival of industrialization, the function of the mill slowly changed. It has produced cigar boxes, for example. Eindhoven used to be the home of the Karel I cigar factory. A single wall of the main building still exists along the Tongerensestraat, directly south of the canal. Processing of grain on the Eindhoven side and oil on the Nuenen side came to a halt in the first half of the 20th century. Rapeseed was last commercially milled into oil in the 1920s, and a few decades later milling of grain also stopped, as local farmers moved to growing crops with a higher yield. In 1960, the city of Eindhoven bought the mill, excluding the miller's house across the street. Both mills were in need of maintenance then, but only in 1975 the grain mill was restored and preserved. In 2003 these works were also completed for the oil mill. The mill has been rented to a local foundation, the Eindhovense Molens. This is a close-up of the milling process, where two big milling stones grind away slowly, with the material being pushed to the middle in 2 steps or 1 full circle. The freshly milled flax is slowly heated up to make the actual extraction of the oil ever so slightly easier, as higher temperatures help making these oils flow easier. Also keep in mind that it's just above 0 degrees Celsius today. You can't heat it up too much though, as Miller Henk told that flax contains a fair amount of cyanide, which can be released as hydrogen cyanide gas. You don't want that to happen. The warm flax is moved into bags with little perforations that will later be put on the actual press. The full bag is placed in between 2 wooden planks so it doesn't get destroyed during the oil extraction process. 2 bags are placed in a so-called slagtafel or hitting table, 1 on each side. This is where the oil pressing starts. The 2 bags have been loaded into the solid oak block of wood, 1 piece, and are now wedged just by the power of water and some human ingenuity. The pounding needed to get the linseed oil out of the flax doesn't take too long. It's the preparations and the work afterwards that requires much more time, believe it or not. The Collse Watermolen still has so-called stuwrecht. the right to increase water level upstream of the mill so it can function as optimal as possible. This right was regulated by common law throughout many parts of Europe and were part of the feudal system. Rights given were normally based on a lease land agreement. They could be revoked at any time. While the millers are getting to cleaning out the hitting table, here are some of the moving parts of the mill. Keep in mind that every moving piece here is powered by that water wheel outside. That's it. Once the pressing is finished, the cakes are liberated from their position, only to be crushed. While linseed can be used to make bread, the process used here won't pass any modern time food safety inspections, so it's used as livestock feed instead. It can also be used to feed fish if you don't have livestock in your living room but a fish tank. The crushing machine, also powered by the same water wheel outside, is probably the part that needs most attention, as the belt keeps slipping when larger chunks of that pressed flax cake is put into the crusher. Getting a coarse flour-like product also needs numerous runs of the mill. After all that hard work of looking at people doing an actual job in their unpaid spare time, I headed over to the shop, which is located in the other mill, which is normally used to process grains into various types of flour.
Ja, ja, goed. Ja, ik ben hier in opleiding.
As oil was pressed today, no flour was produced. Stock of several types of flour was still available though, from small family-friendly packaging all the way to 25 kilogram ones for those daring to bake big. Several customers were shopping around at this Saturday morning, and I decided to pick up a pack of pancake flour. I'm sure I'll be able to produce something nice with that later on. Every Sunday morning, except national holidays between 9:30 and 12:30, the mill is open to visitors. If you're lucky, you can also see this mill in action, producing the flour that you can buy from the shop. Thank you for watching and see you soon.